I mean, if I had better opportunities than what were in front of me, I definitely would have taken, but we're only as guilty as our options, aren't we?
300 employees.
Correct.
And then we started running into 2008.
It got real, man. Like
Yeah.
throwing up in the office real.
Luis is back, baby. The comeback kid.
That hustle, right, got me Rookie of the Year.
37 listings
Yeah.
in your first year in real estate?
Yeah.
Off expireds?
Off expireds.
You made it to the top 1%.
Yeah,
Luis.
1% real estate. Thank you.
Hey.
Which I appreciate. I believe that we are only as great as the habits that we set from the morning to who we decide that we want to be that day or that week.
The surfer from the South Bay. We got a realtor based in Manhattan Beach. Father. Investor. Entrepreneur. Always full of life. From Chihuahua, Mexico. Luis Gonzalez, baby.
What's up, man? Just carrying the number 8. I'm glad me and
Welcome,
Mamba. I'm happy.
man.
I'm proud to be carrying that number.
I'm in the real estate and the real estate of mine.
Hey everybody, welcome back. Welcome back. We got episode number 8, guys, and we got a really, really special guest. I'm actually really excited for this
Kobe
one.
Bryant,
I had it on the calendar for a while, and I hope you guys are going to enjoy this episode just as much as I do. Today we got the surfer from the South Bay. We got a realtor based in Manhattan Beach. Father. Investor, entrepreneur, always full of life, from Chihuahua, Mexico. Luis Gonzalez, baby.
What's up, man? Just carrying the number 8. I'm glad me and
Welcome,
Mamba.
welcome,
I'm happy.
man.
I'm proud to be carrying that number.
Yeah.
Number 8. That's right.
Number
There you
8,
have it.
baby. Yeah, carrying
From
that
Chihuahua,
number.
May. I feel like I'm coming up for a boxing event. Beso Pluma.
Anyway, man, yeah, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for coming down. I know from the South Bay to OC was a little bit of a drive, but you made it out. We appreciate it. I know this building means a lot to you too, by the way. So we could go into that later. We're going to go into a lot of stuff. We'll go
So
into
much material.
Yeah, there's a lot of material. We're going to go into how you started out, your background. We'll go into the crash. We'll go into family life. I know you got a big family. And then basically, we'll just kind of end it from there. And let's just, I guess, we'll start
Hit
out.
me.
Yeah, we'll hit you right now. But anyway, like in the beginning, I just like to have you introduce yourself to the audience.
Yes.
Other than,
Okay. Hi. Why are my hands going up? I don't understand. My hands are going so weird. Okay.
No, so
It's
anyway,
just so funny
just
talking
tell us-
to the
Tell us a little bit
camera.
about yourself. Did you grow up in Mexico, by the way?
I did not grow up in Mexico. I was born in Mexico, hatched literally, right? My parents are from Mexico, from Mexico City and from Juarez. I was born in Juarez, Mexico, and I come from a family of bullfighters, which it is what it is, and it's old country art. And my dad did not want me to be the 6th generation bullfighter, so they literally packed the car and went 3 gas tanks full and decided where we were going to live, and it ended up being in Huntington Park, California. And I was just a little toddler, 2 years old. Been here in the great US of A ever since.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
So you actually did. For some reason, I thought you grew up in Mexico, but you pretty much got here.
In my household, you literally walked into Mexico. There was a Mexican flag, and anything I learned in the school was deleted as soon as I walked in. It was all Mexican radio, music, TV,
Come
food,
from a big
and culture.
family. I know you have a brother. You have a brother and a sister.
I have 2 sisters. I have 1 brother, and I have mom and dad, and then nieces and nephews. Everybody else is in Mexico, but we pretty much were like a tight, unit here.
Nice.
Like a SEAL team.
And I think you guys moved to Huntington, from Huntington Park to Huntington Beach.
Yeah, there was a lot of other Ghetto Fabulous locations that we had oceanfront property in.
Oh,
and
nice.
then eventually ended up in Huntington Harbor and Newport. Yeah.
Well, so you guys made it big, like right away. That family that came from Mexico.
No.
I mean, going to Huntington Harbor and Newport.
Yeah, but
these
that
are like
happened
high-end
later.
areas.
I'm talking
Where'd you go to high school at?
20 years. Downey High School.
Oh, Downey.
Downey,
right
yeah.
next to Huntington.
Downey High School
Right next to
graduate.
Huntington
Yeah.
Park. And we'll just go a little. I got him a little bit into Luis, guys. Luis, I know I introduced him as the South Bay surfer.
That's true.
Luis is literally the only guy I know that does real estate and surfing.
Correct.
When
Yeah.
did you get into surfing?
In high school, we would do ditch parties and go to the Cliffs, which is now called Surf City, USA. So all the Downey guys were pretty much Americanized, and I wanted to be with the cool kids, so that's what the cool kids did, and we would
They
go
surfed.
out and surf, and then we keep going to Mexico, K38, Baja California, all that stuff. So that was my high school, like, off-school activity.
And you've
Which
been
is
surfing
great.
for how long now?
for, I don't know, 80 years, 82
long
years. Yeah,
time.
long time. Yeah.
You still do it today. I know.
Yeah.
Sorry,
this morning, I was there.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Of course,
I call
yeah.
you, like, me and Luis talk, like, some randomly in the morning. I'll call him. It'll literally be like, Earl, I just got back. I just got back from surfing. So you're still doing it to this day, huh? Even and guys, if you guys aren't from Southern California, our water is freezing.
It's great.
Yeah.
So it's the cold water system. Have you ever done a cold dip? Basically, that's my morning, and that just alerts everything in my brain. It gets my daily habits going, and that's pretty much where I plan my day while I'm out there paddling. Already kind of like doing a Magnum PI, if you will. If you don't know what's, I'm paddling out there in the cold water, but my brain's like on, and then there's the reward, catching the waves and doing it again and doing it again.
It's just crazy, man.
Yeah, it's a little bit.
It's a lot of work. And the days that you're not surfing, you're still out in the morning exercising.
Yeah, it's 7 days a week. It's just it's a habit.
Staying active.
Basically, it's just for me to function, succeed, there has to be the right habits are really what makes success or failure. So I got these in me, and I can't stop them. Whether it's high tide or low tide, I'm gonna go do a workout in the morning no matter what.
And you're up by like 4 a.m. or something?
No,
5?
No, 5:30. 5:30 for sure.
Yeah.
And then kind of like, getting my morning job done at the house that I got to get done. And then either a wetsuit or running shoes or road bike or, whatever. And then I'm out for an hour and a half.
And I know you got to be out early. Luis has quite a few young children in your house. 4
kids, right? Uh-huh.
Yeah, 4 kids in your house. And I know you tell me you have to be out of the house before anybody wakes up or else,
If not, I can't leave. You put a baby on your hands, there's no getting out. Got to wake up definitely early before my wife and before anybody's out. Then I'm back. I'm back at 7:30 to shower, overcome some meltdowns and babies crying, then put shoes on, tie shoelaces, lunches, in the car, drop 3 kids off at school, come back with the 4th baby, hand them off to the nanny, and then I'm out.
Oh, you're doing all the drop-offs right now?
Yeah, we do them together.
It's
a wonderful thing
we
to do them
we
together.
Do
yes.
We used to do our morning calls, and you guys, that's when you guys, because you guys are now working in the same area. You guys are both working right there in Manhattan. Is that because you're going to the office?
Pretty much working in Manhattan, or if not, I work from the home office.
Okay.
Or the other, we have like 5 offices that I'm at, so it just depends what's happening in the day, Sometimes I like changing it up and just going to the country club and working there. I kind of like that right now, like 3 days a week.
Oh, that's nice.
And just kind of change up the vibe.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, as you mentioned, you have 4 young children. So I want to talk a little bit about, since we went into that, we'll just go into it right now.
I'm sorry, my hands.
We'll go into like work-life balance. It's a topic I like discussing. I have 2 young children myself, and work-life balance is thank you. It's a tough thing, especially we're in Southern California where things are not as cheap as they could be. It's like you got to obtain a certain lifestyle, you got to work X amount of hours.
Got to make more money.
You got to make more money, which means
you're
working a lot, sacrificing family. So how are you? What's your balance especially with 4 kids? You got soccer, football, whatever you guys are doing. What's your balancing act like?
Basically, like you just you take the red pill or you take the blue pill, and we took the red pill, and it's like okay. Everything's overwhelming, everything's hard, or you just bolt down and you just do the one thing. And then after that gets done, then you're the brain goes in order, then you do the next thing, and you just don't stop. You just keep going and just make the decision. Instead of budgeting, you say, you know what, I'm just going to make more money and it's going to work itself out, and it does. That limited amount of time of where I manifest my energy, I manifested how I could make more instead of the fear of bills or whatever the government's doing. I just delete all that because that's not part of what's going to be healthy, and it works.
It's a mindset shift, basically, that you have to have that pushes you forward.
It starts right before I wake up. Like that first, sight of life that I wake up. I'm already kind of in that state of mind because like anything that starts like a great song, if it doesn't start right, it's not going to go well. So that's it. And then the day I just run out of day and look at the rewards at the end of the day going, it worked today.
Yeah, just kind of pushing yourself. Well,
yeah.
Like we're just talking now you're in real estate, but let's rewind that a little bit. Before Luis got into real estate, little Luis, when little Luis was right out of Downey High School, what were little Luis's dreams? What did little Luis want to do when he grew up?
Luis wanted to be cool, be with all the cool kids.
You were surfing. You're not a cool kid.
I was surfing. Well, there was, Fast Times at Ridgemont High. There was all this cool lifestyle, but obviously my parents didn't have the means of the money. Like we had to share the income at home to make ends meet. So like, that changes your parameter. And I think that, I was reflecting on that I went to school with a lot of wealthy guys that ended up not doing anything or not developing. And it's kind of sad, but it's kind of the reality because we're all wealthy in a way, right? We being here in the United States, we're billionaires as it is. It's just whether you're
we
poor.
have opportunity.
No, we're billionaires compared to some third world countries. We are literally just by staying afloat here. And see, so this is my state of mind.
I know what you're saying. Yeah,
my state of mind is I've already made it. I'm healthy. I'm young. I'm in the free country. I can do whatever I want. Just like those guys that I went to school with, that their dads had projects and schools paid for and all these companies, and they all didn't make it. They're where they want to be. We end up exactly where we set our target, and be careful what you wish for. So my wish was to be able to do everything. And unfortunately, like I'm guilty that I love life. So surfing, road biking, snowboarding, skiing, travel, all these things that I never had growing up. I wanted it, so I needed money, and that's kind of like, where my journey took me.
Yeah.
I think it's the desire of a want and then manifesting it in our brain and then turning out actions that actually move you towards that goal, right? Where instead of doing nothing and then the goal gets away, I've always managed to move towards the goal. And every time you fail, you learn something along the way and just keep developing it. I mean, if I had better opportunities than what were in front of me, I definitely would have taken, but we're only as guilty as our options, aren't we?
Right. I like that.
I think that's what Chris Rock said. in a different type of conversation.
No, I like that. So, I mean, but in terms of your career, I know you had like a lot of goals, you had a lot of hobbies, a lot of aspirations, but in terms of your career, you graduated Downey.
Right.
Where were you going? Did you go to college?
I was going to Downey. I went to Long Beach State University, and I was at the time I started selling cars by my brother starting to selling cars. So then I figured I was smarter than him, so I would do great in the car business, and I did.
Shot at brother.
So my brother was like, "Yeah, what's up, Rafael?" And I was working at a clothing store at DJ Clothing, if anybody knows those out here, the malls. And he rolled in a new car. I was making $800 a month, and he paid me the $300 he owed me, and he's like, I'm never going to be broke again. He's like, come check this out. He shows me a new car. I'm like, what? He goes, I'm selling cars. I'm like, you're selling cars? I'm like, if you're selling cars, I'm going to crush it in the car business. So sure enough, like he gave me the money that he owed me, paid me cash. He went to Vegas, called me on Monday, asked for the $300 back so he can get his car back from Vegas because he spent it all in Vegas.
Oh my gosh.
But that got me in the car industry. So I was in high school. I was selling cars. And I wanted to get out of that business. I wanted to get into finance, and I wanted to move on. So
why did you want to get out of the car business, though? The car business.
I personally hated it. It was just not my vibe. I mean, I was a surfer, kind of Mexican surfer, right? That vibe didn't work for me. But it was the only means that was available for me. That was the vehicle that I used. No pun intended. But it was like that. So I went to Long Beach State. I took some finances, and I told the owner if I could go to school in the morning and then sell cars at night, and he allowed it, which is crazy because that's the better schedule for selling cars.
Right,
afternoon
I would think
and evening.
so. Yeah.
So I worked 7 days a week at the car dealership. Weekends I did 40 hours on the weekends. I was clocking in probably
Killing it.
70 hours
Like your
at
early
the dealer.
20s?
Yeah, like 18, 19,
Oh,
and then going to school with the units, like 30 units, like a full load.
Right.
And, just worked every weekend. Probably kept me out of problems, kept me out of trouble. Car business was phenomenal for me because it was like a great university of understanding credit and understanding the business world, right, from my mentors in that world that showed me. It was great. I loved it. And but I wanted to get out, because I hated the hours. I wanted to be free. I didn't want to be 80 hours a week at
a lot of work, huh? A lot of hours.
Right, yeah, but like trying to be a professional, you're not going to work 40 hours. You're going to work 60 plus hours. So I was doing it and going to school, and then my father became ill, and things happened in our financial budget. So I had to quit school. I literally had to quit school and do full time, schedule in the car business, and then I ended up ramping up, making even more. Like at 16 or 17 years old, I was already making $100,000
Wow.
which is phenomenal money. I mean, at 18 years old, I bought my first house with 2 years tax returns qualified, And then the only reason I bought that was because I would make like $14,000 a month, you know, in a paycheck, and I'd get like $6,000. And I'd be like, "Where's my money?"
Right.
Like, you guys from? And they're like, "No, Uncle Sam." Like, I go, "What do I do?" They're, "Oh, buy a house. You write off the interest." I didn't even know what they were talking about, but my manager said, "Buy a house."
Buy a property.
I bought a property, moved my mom in, moved my sister in, moved in my niece, and became head of the household, you know, at 18, and bought my sister a car, bought my mom a car, bought me a new car, and then I was all of a sudden, you know, highly in debt at 18 years old with a mortgage. And
But you're making
you know,
money, so
making money,
you're feeling
you know,
good.
making money. But you know, then I had a bad month, and I remember what really a turning point for me was that I knew I had deals in the pipeline, and I asked one of my good friends that I thought was a good friend. I go, "Hey, can you advance me like $1,000? I have to pay my mortgage, and I'll pay you on the 15th." He's like, "Kid, welcome to the real world. Get your own money."
Oh, okay.
So I realized that, you know, you're on your own, right?
Yeah.
And that really kind of made me sure I hit my goals, you know. So your goals don't happen monthly, they happen daily, you know, and you got to make that goal, because I had that mortgage payment, that tax payment, that car 1, car 2, car 3 payments, school for my niece.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
that
you
kind
had
of
a lot-
molded
You had
me.
a lot of bills at a young age.
I did have a lot of bills, but it kept me out of trouble, and it kept me like every day waking up
That
to
keeps
work.
you grinding, though. I mean, you
Keep
got
me in the
something
grind.
behind you,
Yeah.
pushing you, basically.
And it was great. Like, so then, you know, my income escalated. I made more. I doubled that money in the car business. I doubled it. And, you know, and I was like, this is great. So then I wanted to be a finance guy in the car business. So I started helping them in the back in the finance department, you know, young. And, you know, just trying to understand it more, trying to get more, you know, always trying to leave, but to trying to make more money. I mean, I honestly, Andrew, I think that every human being, I think we're only capable of what's available around us. Okay, like
The circle around you.
Yeah, the circle around you, your peers, your influences, the connections you have, and that's all I had. So I made chicken soup out of it. You know, I made lemonade out of, you know, out of nothing, instead of, you know, being a complainer. And I hated sales. Honestly, I would hide in my car. I would hide for 6 hours. I didn't want to be around any of the salespeople until I absolutely had to. But then I had those bills that like kept me in front of customers, rejection, no. And then, you know, like I developed a calluses for, you know, a no is just one more reason that somebody's still talking to you, that you
You're
can
closer
convert
to a
them,
yes
that you
as
can
well.
convert them to a yes.
Right.
Like they, you know, I remember saying, "Hey, there's no. You overcome 4 no's, you got a yes, because you got one, and that's, you know, as long as if they're not talking, a customer's not talking, then you absolutely have no deal. If they're telling you no, they're still talking, they're still interested.
Yeah, no, I feel you.
That's my roots right there.
And obviously, it's way, I hate to date you, but it's obviously way back before the internet. Now it's like a completely different
No, yeah,
ballgame.
I mean, it's still the same grind. I mean, I know guys today. You never leave that industry. I think I
think
never
it's-
left
okay.
any of my industries, because like I'm connected, right? Like that's where I get my sphere of referrals. And they're still selling cars. They're still negotiating. I mean, you do it, you know, the internet way, and you know, you probably have
Yeah.
it delivered, right? Like your Ferrari.
The Lambo, yeah.
Okay.
The new Lambo.
Of course, no. I'm still with the people that go to the dealership and grind out a little bit.
I'm actually shopping for a car right now, and
Oh, let me know. I'll
I'm,
hook you up.
I'm
I got
literally trying to do it. Everything.
What car? What are you
Everything's online. We're SUV.
SUV, come see me.
Looking for an SUV. You're
I
still
have-
in the car business?
Yeah, well, I know everyone. Like I know the people that are positioned the right connection. Like I get seriously.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Okay,
We'll
we'll
talk.
talk to you kind of
Yeah, we'll get
after
there.
this little chat. So anyway, you talked. Okay, so you're in the
So
car
yeah,
business.
so car biz.
Finance.
Right.
Got into finance.
Correct.
And this is way before real estate, and I
Correct.
want to eventually get into how you got into mortgage.
Well, I'll tell you how I got into real estate. So real
Or
estate,
you got into mortgage first, then the real estate.
No, I got into real estate first.
Okay.
So basically, car drives up, a beautiful white Mercedes drives up, and this like really pretty lady shows up, nice shiny teeth, like ding, like Colgate smile,
Right.
and her daughter pops out, and then they introduce me. Yeah, we're looking for a car for my daughter. She's 16. I'm going, oh my God, this kid's so lucky. Like, and she's like, yeah, I want a red, you know. And I'm like, oh wow, if I ever had that opportunity, it'd be amazing. And they're like, she's really good at school. Her grades are great. I'm like, wow, yeah, and you're kind of very wealthy. And then a black Mercedes pulls up, same big long Mercedes, and it's her husband. And they're like the nicest couple ever, and they're the sweetest human beings. They're like, yeah, we'll take it. Can you negotiate a little bit? And they discounted nothing on the car. They go, that's fine, we'll take it. I'm like, wow, these people are amazing. I go, what do you guys do? Oh no, we're realtors. We're in the real estate. We own a real estate office. I think it was Century 21 All Stars in down. I'm like, oh my God. They're like, Luis, you would be great at real estate and you would make a lot of money. I'm like, will you hire me? Yeah, get your license. We'll absolutely hire you. I'm like, oh my God, like I'm gonna make it. I found $1 million club. I'm like literally told my mom, I met people in the $1 million because their business card said like $1 million club. So like
your face lit up when you saw these people and they were inviting you and
they like gave me this opportunity. I had no idea what real estate was. So I took the test and then I sat in the middle of the showroom floor and I quit. I said, I'm never coming back. I'm exhausted. It's freaking
You literally quit right there?
Well, after I passed my license, as soon as I got my license, I quit. I was gone. I said, I'm never coming back. I'm out of the car business. I went to the meeting at the real estate office. Everybody applauded. All the realtors, they gave me my warm welcomes. And 6 months went by, and the phone never rang, and there was like no business, and there was no training, and I'm like, how do I get? They're like, you'll figure it out. Just hang on to it, Luis. You got to go like knock on doors.
Oh no.
So when you realize when you're 18 years old and go knock on doors, is that nobody's gonna give you any business, and any of my friends were not buying any houses at 18 years old. So I quickly, after almost losing my house, and because I already owned the house, I already owned 3 cars, and all my reserves were gone, I begged and pleaded back in the car business. And it saved my butt, and it totally saved my butt.
And they took you back, no problem, huh?
They took, well, yeah, I mean, they were mad, but like after 6 months, they kind of missed me a little bit, and then they remembered,
how good
the great
you were
moments.
doing.
We all forget the bad moments. So I was back in, and I was like so grateful to be back in, and I was like, oh my God. So like, yeah, real estate was a very big, let's say, white elephant monster to understand. And then I realized, it's who who's buying, who's referring, right? Like, there's so many things I didn't understand about the real estate business not being trained. And then there's mentors, trainings, Tom Ferry, Mike Ferry.
I think it's a little better. Is it better now? Like I would say
the training,
the training, and just the bringing up of new agents.
Oh,
I feel like I've talked to
I think anybody starting in, I think it's pretty much now widespread. You want to get into a team, be part of a team, make no money, whatever. At least you're making something. But more importantly, you're learning off the big guy, and you're learning a routine, and then eventually you can branch off on your own. I think that's a better road than sink or swim and burn the ropes. So
I did the sink or swim thing.
Yeah, and so did I, and I sank a bunch of times. So yeah, I mean I kept popping in and out of real estate, back in the car business, out of the car business, back in the car business. You
really wanted to get into real estate, but you weren't ever able to crack the code, basically. So you kept having to get back and make some money and then go back and then.
Right, and the reality is, like I said, when there's options, like if you have a spouse or somebody that's helping you pay your way in real estate, that's why a lot of ladies are so great, or home domestic dads are so great, because they don't have to worry about the bread and the butter and the diapers. There's somebody doing that, so then they could they don't even know, but they're networking in their neighborhood. And then that network eventually turns to make more money than that spouse that has that hourly job, because now they met, 25 people at school, the PTA, babysitting, daycaring, dog walking, and then all of a sudden, hey, I became a realtor, but they waited 3 years of doing no business, but they network, and then all of a sudden they start getting deals, and like, oh, this business is easy, but they didn't know that that's actually the right way to do it. You need to actually be referred and create a network of trust, and then people refer you. You can't just cold call, door knock. It's not gonna be a business today. It's a business a year from now. That's really real estate sales.
Yeah. So anyway, in and out of the real estate business. Let's probably fast forward a little bit. A little bit into the mortgage business.
Sure.
How did you get into?
Fast forward in and out of the real estate business, and then the car business took me and paid me a lot of money and had me run their dealerships, general manager of Toyota, Mercedes, BMW, general sales manager, that status, with big dollars behind me to commit myself to a corporate America world, HR, 200 employees, managing the day-to-day service, parts, sales, finance.
What was the biggest job you took in the car business?
Biggest job I took was Van Nuys Mercedes-Benz was a big job. We took that dealership from failing to putting them on the map and making them, like the top third Mercedes dealership in California. That was a big job. Bigger job than that was I got recruited, headhunted over to out of state. I went to a Toyota store in Portland, Oregon. And the owner had 27 stores, and how they hooked me said, well, don't you want to be like an owner? I said, yeah. Then spend a day with this owner.
Right.
He wants to interview you, and you get to interview the owner. And I go, oh, I get to interview
Sounds good
an
to me.
owner of 27 stores. So basically we met, we both liked each other, and he told me that no dollar could scare him from hiring me, so I put $1 on a napkin and I gave it to him.
Oh, really?
And he spoke to me in third person. He was kind of a funny guy. And he goes, his name was Scott Thomason. Scott, this does not scare Scott Thomason, and he hired me. Like his
that's
wife,
cool,
actually, we
man.
were in the back of his
That's a cool
house. He had
story,
7
yeah.
kids, back of his house, and his wife comes out. He goes, Luis, he goes, he'll pay you anything. He loves you. So she told me this, like, from her balcony, and then I'm like, he's sitting with me, Luis, you got to work for me. And so I gave him a big number, and he hired me.
A number.
So that was the big.
Did you think he was gonna? Yeah, before you wrote it down, was he gonna take it or not? Like,
I didn't want to go because I loved my lifestyle at the time. I had an oceanfront house. I had a 50-foot boat. I had a Porsche convertible.
Oh,
I
whoa.
had multifamilies. I was living a great life already in the car business, like living it. And then to move to Oregon, to be away from the ocean, where a lot of... So I figured, let me give him a stupid number so he can say no,
So you can
but
go-
maybe.
Yeah.
So what would it take for me to go? So
Right.
that's, it was kind of like the wife did a good job.
Yeah.
She helped us negotiate a good deal between both of us, and he took the number, and I moved and relocated, and found that weather is different in a different state.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, it's different.
Number one
It's
suicide
cold and
rate.
raining.
So I did that for a while and helped them. They were failing at a Toyota store. I took that store to number 1 in that region, and then he gave me his Honda store and his Suzuki store. So I was in charge of, like 600 employees. We had like major
Wow.
HR divisions, so all those plus 3 used car lot pods. So I was like that general manager, just managing, bringing in some LA Fire to the Oregon car market. And then when those dealerships made a profit, he sold all 29 stores to a big corporation. Corporation said, "You're amazing. You're the greatest guy ever. We heard your stories." And they paid me like 1/10 of what I was making, so I quit. So, that happened like 3 different times with 3 different corporations in the car business. And, just to fast forward, like it
And
happened
that's-
again, relocate Arizona, relocate San Diego, take the stores from 16th place to number 2, take Toyota San Diego, put it on the map, fire 200 employees, retrain, build,
Sounds like a lot of work, but it sounds fun.
a lot of fun.
Sounds fun, yeah.
Building, scrapping, retraining, and then having the owners kind of not give you that ownership, which was what I was looking for. So the last time it happened in Manhattan Beach, and it happened at a Toyota store where it had just happened in the store in Arizona. So that owner calls me, he goes, "Get here now, everybody, you need to come and work." And so I went there, no days off, got to work. 4 weeks in, he was going to give me a partnership. Did not give me the partnership, but he gave me the demo, and he gave me the big title and the big monthly income. But I wanted ownership, and he's like, "Oh,
wanna make
I
the
don't know
big
if I
boy
can do
money."
this." I wanted to be a big boy, and he
Yeah.
wouldn't do it for me. So at that moment, I gave him the keys to his demo, and I said, "Don't ever call me ever again." And I was mentally done with the car business. And I had a nice nest egg, so I called my good buddy that was in the mortgage business,
Okay.
running a small shop, like 4 or 5 guys, and I went in, didn't know what I was doing, so basically bootstrapped it on. Had experience from a mortgage business I had earlier. I did jump back and forth into real estate and mortgages, so I kind of knew what I was doing. And we went to work. And we built, started hiring people, changed the mindset of providing a service for our staff, providing a service and training for them. In fact, I think I trained them every day at lunchtime. I think we bought everybody lunch every day, 7 days a week if they were there, and we showed them how to disclose a loan, how to talk about a loan, how to do a loan, how to do a 1003, how to sell loan, how to do DTIs, LTVs, FICO, the whole thing.
Okay.
And we created basically a culture. You just create, the same thing. I just basically took my corporate knowledge and duplicated it into this business, and just ran with it. I think I was on blinders, and I was just following what I had experienced that had succeeded, and I applied it to the mortgage business. And timing is everything. You can be great at something and wrong timing, so it kind of complemented.
Timing was really good for you.
Yeah, it was great. So complemented, and
this is early 2000s.
Early 2000, I think 2004 or 5, 2003, no, 2002. 2002. It was things, so mortgage business took off. I had no idea it was going to take off. I was just done, with broken promises of trying to be, somebody that I couldn't be in the car business. So I went in with the same corporate discipline, the same good habits, and that was the only thing that was in front of me, because I closed that chapter, burned the ropes, and said, I'm going to figure this out. And I think within 6 months' time, I had, 3 new loan officers that were working on my team. I kind of did that team thing, and then that multiplied, and then, kind of trained my partner to kind of how to be more of a business person, less of a like owner mom pop shop. We need to make this thing where everybody feels everybody has an opportunity. It's not just like a boys club or a favorites club, right? Which a lot of mom and pop shops do that. So we kind of changed. I think we changed the structure and created a very equal opportunity structure. And I think that kind of that mindset is what succeeded in me in anything I've ever done. Like when you're managing staff, sales, anybody, everybody doesn't want to know that somebody's going to get favored because they know somebody or whatever the reason. It's got to be equal across the board. Like, hey, you did good, you did bad. Based on this, you get the prize, you don't. Not because, oh, well, let's change that, So I think that's really healthy for people who want to succeed. It created that, that career path. You created a career path for people, entry-level people, to give them an opportunity to move up. We had like entry telemarketers or data entry, but if they did well, and they performed, then we would put them into the next category. We'd put them into this. And if they did well, then they would become this, and they would become a senior. They'd become a team leader. We had a staff of 300, I don't know, like 200 at the mortgage company. That's very good. Yeah, and we kept career paths, and we went from different career paths in the admin to telemarketers to senior telemarketers to group team leaders, managers, to then junior loan officers, and then loan officers that had teams, and then they had team leaders, and then we had guys that were helping them kind of like structure the loan, right, to make sure they qualify, because loan officers, there's a lot in the loan, as that people need to. So all those structures, and then we had processing that had this. So the structures and implementation is basically what complemented the good market. And basically it took every ounce of living day that I had, and I left it all there and woke up and did it again, and it succeeded and it went well.
I like that. But I like the part where you said that there's basically light at the end of the tunnel. These people have a career path and they can move forward, and
you got to show.
They'll give you your best shot. These people will give you
right. They walk through fire that way. When you show them that we are one, we are equal, and you do their job, and you roll up your sleeves and you go, look, this is how I used to do it, and they're like, oh, he's not just the boss. He was me, right? Because I was. Yeah. And I think that kind of connects people, and it makes them feel that they belong, that there's a way, there's a light at the end of the tunnel, and I'm like, follow me, do good, you too will succeed. And I believe in that mortgage company and real estate. We had more people buy homes and buy a second home and become homeowners and become Rolex owners and Daytona watch owners and bright, and
Is there much your employees?
My employees.
Oh, that's
my
amazing.
employees.
That's
everybody
amazing.
And had nice cars, and people wanted the better things in life, and because that's kind of like the culture that became, and it kind of had a life of its own. I think it was very rewarding for everybody, like rewarding for me definitely, and rewarding for the customers,
Yeah, I want to get there someday. I want to get where I see my employees kind of doing all this stuff, and I want to. That's a lot. I could learn a lot from that statement right there.
But like again, and I think all those employees, and myself included, we are only as good as our habits, right? So, like culturing good habits to how do you start your morning, to what you do in the morning, what habits do you do, what kind of work habit, do you come to work, or do I come to work to try to cheat the system? Like there's, the fastest road to making money is doing it the right way, You just got to do it faster, right?
Yeah.
It's not a shortcut. The shortcut is do the 10 steps fast. That way you get through them. That way every deal becomes a deal. I think that's really kind of like the mindset that I have, and so that all these other employees had. Sorry, just kind of blown up a little bit. And I think that culture for me is who I am. Like, I'm the same person when I was in high school. I've always kind of had that same mindset. We are all here. We're all one. I am just like you. I just kind of worked a little bit harder than you, and I got the award last year, and I got the bonus. And,
right.
I'm the owner now because I could be. You too could be an owner. Why not? Right? So I think that's my mindset. And wherever the journey takes me, if real estate ends tomorrow, I got the right vehicle for, say, myself, my launch vehicle, to take on the new product, and apply the same discipline and dedication and things that that make it happen. Even when I got back in the mortgage business, because car business in real estate industries, they come and go. So thankfully I have 3 industries for sure, and now 4 with the hair industry that my wife's in,
right,
that I could bounce back in case things take a palm. Like, I came back to the mortgage business and things were not like they used to be. I used to get paid, a certain manner by charging points and making rebate. And that took a whole mindset for me to understand that you can't make money in the front and the back anymore. So, but you apply the right discipline, wake up every day and, have a good balance, and anything could be accomplished. That's what I'm living proof of.
No, I appreciate that little story. And I think I could learn a lot from you. It's a little bit different now.
Right.
We're struggling a little bit with... obviously, I'm trying to grow the company,
right,
but now we're post-COVID. Things are a little bit different.
Right.
So I got the remote thing I have to deal with. So
yeah,
trying to manage
you got
people.
Elon Musk that.
Trying to manage people that are probably in another, who knows where they're at or what they're doing, or
right,
a little bit harder. It's something I'm trying to tackle. But anyway, I know you brought this mortgage company you started from, like you said, from 4 to 6 employees, and
Correct.
it became 300 employees.
Correct.
And then we started running into 2008.
Correct.
So
Correct.
I'm sure you have a great 2008 was a killer for the mortgage business.
2007 was
Well, 2007 was the good year. It was like the best year.
No. I mean, if you're realistic, like so when we're graphing the profits, right? Because we had warehouse lines, we had $50 million warehouse line, and you start graphing the profits, and you start seeing that the wholesalers are dropping the FICO scores to make people qualify. The reserves are dropping, all the qualifications are dropping, and people are doing crazy stuff to do the loans, and you start seeing it, and then they start changing those guidelines.
Well, before we go into this,
right?
Just for the audience that does, I'm sure they were probably some of them were probably too young, but but the ones that were are the ones that weren't born yet. How easy, because they know how hard it is to get a loan today. How easy was it to get a loan in 2005?
If I didn't give a loan to a client, they would literally walk outside, actually this very building you're in, and they would walk outside to 2 doors, and there was another mortgage company that would give them the loan without breaking the law, because it was stated income, stated assets, no income, no that, Nina, Nanya, Samnya, all the 80-20s, 20-80s, 20-25,
coming in with nothing.
Everybody with nothing. Don't even put your job on the app. And that was not the fault of the retail lenders, and that was my fault because I was a retail belly-to-belly, realtor.
Consumer direct.
And right. So, and I had warehouse lines in the back, but it was, the secondary market, as we all know now from the movie The Big Short, that they were changing the, the approval ratings on these loans, and so were the wholesalers to get more loans. So we were not breaking the law, but in essence, in Wall Street, those guys were breaking the law, which caused the bubble. And when the bubble happened, I literally walked on planet Earth in my own living hell. I felt like I went to hell for about 3 years of my
hold
life.
On. What? Okay, so I want you to take me back to the day that you knew things were going to shit. Like
Sure.
that day.
Yeah.
What happened? You wake up. I don't know. You check your emails.
There's a website that was called the Implode Meter. It's probably still implode.com.
It's still
So
around,
it was created then, where what would happen was we would run all these ads. We had freeway signs and billboards, and we had, telemarketers, and we had all these people bringing people who wanted to do loans, and I would take a look at their credit, and I look at their FICO, and I look at their things, and then I look at the guidelines, and the guidelines would no longer match because the guidelines, the lenders were raising all those guidelines again, and they were back up to
trying to get more. They're trying to limit
700,
loans.
740.
Yeah.
Basically, the market had dried up, and the only way they could not say no is saying, "Oh, we have new guidelines now." right? So they were still open for business if you had a 750 FICO, you had a year reserves, you had
Clean.
60%, right? It was just, so I looked at hundreds, if not thousands of applications, 1003s on the phone with the clients, with all the staff, and dwindling, hundreds of applications with zero being able to generate. And then the ones that were already in the funding status, they changed the guidelines right before funding, and then those deals didn't fund, and that home was not sold, and that buyer could not move into that home, or the ones that did fund, and then those warehouse lines that I had to replenish and resell, I owned those loans. So those loans became my loans, and I became the mortgagor for some of these homes out here in Orange County. And eventually those people did not pay me, and that's my money out that I never replenished back, because the warehouse lines, I had to pay them, and it's just turned into a disaster.
And this is, you're saying it's 07, it wasn't 08.
It's just one big red bloody thing. I mean, it wasn't like it's. I mean, just I was in the business every day, so I know when it started, and it started in 07. Like it started, and I knew it started because it didn't feel good anymore. I knew what good felt, and I know what didn't feel good, and it just kept getting gradually worse. But I was already on high alert, and I was just like, "Whoa, how do you stop this train?"
Yeah, it's just like I was in college during this time, so I just wish I was working instead of going to school. Like, why did I go to school? Because I heard everybody was making just hand over fist money, and it was easy, and it was just throw it through.
The guidelines were very easy. People would qualify. All you had to do was just communicate to a human being who wanted to buy or refinance, and then put them on paper, and then the lenders would do it. So the art of communications would really did it, right? And then eventually, from all those 200 employees, you go down to 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Did you actually
just
have
myself.
to fire people, or did they just kind of walk out? Or
you let people go. You lay them off. You have to lay them off. You have to give them a severance package, and some not. And if they're sales,
this is just coming straight out of your savings.
It's just losing money, but I made sure that I paid everybody, right? And I paid everybody, and I made sure that everybody got paid up until I was highly in debt by myself. With like 5, 7 offices on triple net leases, buildings like this that, those commercial leases don't let me off the hook, and the phone calls and the nightmares. And
that's another.
Paid everybody, but I just couldn't pay everything, and then you live in a panic state of the money, the warehouse lines are gone. These people are now on my money, and my money in my bank is gone because it's out on mortgage loans. I'm trying to sell them on the short, and it's just high stress, and it got real, man. Like throwing up in the office, real, like shaking, like. Couldn't go back to the car business because the car business was frozen as well.
Same thing. Their warehouse lines were also frozen.
Well, yeah, the credit market. My brother and I, my brother mainly had a Mitsubishi store as well, which was all run on people's credit, and then Mitsubishi Financial filed bankruptcy. So those people, that could not qualify to buy a Mitsubishi, which are D tier, C tier clients, not A and B. A and B is Toyota, Mercedes, Honda, right? All those people, when the credit scores went away, they couldn't buy. So the dealership was lost, the real estate was lost, my real estate was lost, and trying to mortgage everything. It's like coming to an end and having no way out. Yeah, because I was fully vested in the financial lending markets. It was brutal.
So your story, that's kind of, I guess, the low point. But guys, Luis has a great story, so it goes all the way down. Yeah. We're gonna start the come up right now, but. Yeah. I know you go all the way down, and I know you probably had, because when you're an owner of a mortgage company, I'm sure you had like properties.
Real estate.
That you had to put into the company name to give the company like its net worth, right?
Right.
Am I right or wrong?
100% right.
Okay,
you got to have all that. And
all those properties are gone.
Right.
All your net worth is gone. So you basically you're back to square one.
All those years of working 7 days a week, doing 18 hours a day or whatever, and even nice times and bad times, all that investment, all that savings, and all that work is gone.
It's tough.
And you didn't break the law, and you didn't do anything but work your ass off. That was how I said, why is this happening to me? Like, what else could I have done? Like, how else could I have read this formula? And obviously it was my fault because I should have known the secondary market, that they were changing the mortgage-backed security grading, and they were giving, but I didn't know that. But it should have been my business to know, and I would have if I would have known. But I was all in the belly to belly, running loan officers and staff.
You were looking at operations. You weren't
Right.
looking at like the market essentially.
Right.
But
Right.
it sounds like
Right.
anyway. Tough.
Yeah.
Tough situation. But obviously, a lot of people in the business literally ran
Right.
into that.
Right.
In this business, and obviously a lot of other businesses in the economy, like you just said, your brother in the car business.
Right.
So, market crashes. 2008, you're trying to pick yourself back up. How did you pick? Let's get the comeback story. The comeback
Surfing.
kid, baby.
I went back to surfing, and
just
I
surfed.
would have so prior to I was not working out for a while because it was just so bad, and I put the weight on, and then eventually I said, you know what, I got to get myself back to basics, man, back to that garage mentality, right, that Rocky Balboa mentality, and I started. So funny story. Like I would stay up late doing all the bills and trying to figure out all the money, the millions I owed, and trying to figure out how to pay it. So I would watch late night TV, and then they had these infomercials, and infomercials would sell you anything, and then you're at that point mentally fried. So I bought these I bought these stretch bands that were for women that would do yoga or whatever, and I bought a ball, and I'm because I couldn't even go to the gym. My head was spinning. I go, oh, maybe while I'm at home I'll do these. So they came in the mail, and I told my girlfriend, now wife at the time, I said, here, let's start working out. And she's like, okay, why won't you go to the gym? I go, I couldn't even go to the gym mentally. I was spun. So I started stretching with these bands, and it was good. I started doing leg stretches. You hold them, and then I had the ball for the stomach, and I could do all but 5 minutes. And then one day, one of those bands broke, and it literally ripped my lip open. I started bleeding, and it was
What? Okay.
we just started laughing because I was literally, I couldn't even get up to work out. I would work out in bed. I was just so mentally spun from
Just
the
fried,
mortgage
huh?
meltdown. Because, you go on that mortgage implode meter, and there was big companies closing, and you're just this little company, and you're trying to survive. It was just brutal. So I couldn't even get out of bed. So I started bleeding in bed. We started laughing. I'm like, okay, we're going to the gym. And that's how I started. I started by getting my basics first.
Getting back to the routine.
Getting back to the routine that I had. So we went to the gym day 0. I told her to wait in the car. And she's like, why? Aren't we going to work out? I'm like, I touched the wall of the gym. I literally touched it. I said, day 1. And I got back in the car. She goes, we're going to work out. I go, we just literally went to the gym. We went to the gym.
Wait,
That was it. And I never stopped since then. Knock on wood, I've been working out 7 days a week. That matrix saved my life. That matrix of working out every day, and then it wasn't the gym. It was actually surfing, getting in the water. I couldn't get in the water first. It took me a while to get my upper body strength to get back in the water.
You were that weak, huh?
I was that
You were
weak. I was just no strength, no upper body
It's
strength.
like you went through
nothing.
some
I had
accident.
nothing. I was just jello. I was like
Or
jello.
you were just depressed.
Just depressed.
Yeah.
Beaten down, broken, no spine, had nothing, not a penny to piss on, had nothing, I had, but then
Can't
I went,
be
wait a
depressed,
minute.
man. You got to get back to
But
work.
I said, I'm young.
No time to be
I'm
depressed.
free. I'm in a free country. I'm in a great opportunity.
Exactly.
And what am I going to do? So in between that, I did have a little bit of money, and we had a little bit of spirit. So my wife was a hairstylist. My wife complained that everybody was drinking on the job at her hair salon, and she's not a drinker, so she wanted her own hair salon. And she would interrupt me while I was trying to watch a hockey game, and she kept complaining about her job. And I'm like, what? Hair business. Tell me about this hair business. So she told me about her hair business, and then I realized that it's a business, and people are actually getting their hair done in what I consider the worst economy in the planet ever existed ever. These women are still dropping big coin, and she's booked up for 6 weeks. So make a long story short, we obtained a lease, opened up a hair salon, Cielo Boutique Salon over in Manhattan Beach.
Oh, man, you're a risk taker. Right after you drop this
Well,
giant
it was
company,
a secure risk with her because she had a book of business that was 3 months booked. So I was just a finance guy, and I did the math on lease, overhead, because she was taking a cut. She was paying 50%. Now she's making 100. I said, if anything, because we weren't married yet, I go, we're doing this for you. If we don't work out, this is your business.
Oh, nice
even though it's
guy,
our business.
man.
But I wanted that. So I wanted our,
Yeah.
kind of went in a lot of ways. It was a good test for us to know that we were going to play nice when it came to things that mattered to her, which was her salon, and things that mattered to me, which was my time and, an investment. So we played nice. We played nice. We did hair. I became Zoolander for a while at the.
You did hair?
I did not do hair.
Okay, so what?
I did the front desk. I did the receptionist. I was the cabana boy that would run out and put coins in the meters and go move these ladies' cars because they had a 2-hour meter. So I was moving these Aston Martins and these like awesome cars. And I was going, these people are so happy. There's no poverty here. Nobody's going through a mortgage meltdown in this community.
Yeah.
It was like so healthy. Well, all my friends that were in the business are calling me. They're in alcohol rehab, drug rehab, committed suicide. These guys are just,
terrible,
what are you doing? Everybody's calling each other like, what are you doing? What are you doing? I'm like, I'm doing hair. They're like, what? You're doing hair? I'm like, I'll call you back, right? I wasn't doing hair. I was doing the meter runs and doing the cashier. And then I got into doing the marketing. I joined the Chamber of Commerce. I joined the local business network of local business owners, and I started marketing the salon. And I marketed the salon, and gave away free services. Met a great marketing guy that was in my wedding later. So we gave 3 services, obtained a client by giving him 3 times free. By the 4th time, they liked the place, they liked the cut, they liked the percent, and then they became customers for life, and that paid the bills. So that business grew. Wow. And we hired stylists, and we kept hiring stylists, and these stylists started making great money. They started making amazing 6-figure incomes, and the thing took off.
Stylist, huh?
So that helped, and then surfing helped because surfing would really clear my brain. 5:30 in the morning in the water. That cold flush.
It's got to be a rush. That's a rush.
That's a rush. And then the big waves. And little did I know when I got back into surfing, which was 2009, El Nino was the biggest it had been, I think, in like 30 years. It was just huge. So I couldn't even make it out to the point. Like I would spend sometimes 45 minutes in the whitewash and never make it out. I go, well, I got to work out today. And eventually, I think it was like 6 months later, I made it to the tribe out there. I made it, and then I had to overcome all those personalities, right? But, eventually became buddies with all of them, surfed every day, and, just kept feeling good, healthy, lost the weight, lean Dean again, got back in it.
Luis is back, baby. Comeback kid.
Hair salon was great. My relationship was great with my wife, girlfriend at the time, and then some of the clients were, pretty big-wig real estate agents in Manhattan Beach, and my wife would say that they were dripping in diamonds, these wives of these realtors. She's just dripping in diamonds. Like, who are these people? Like, what? So I kind of had a little bit of an ear for it, and I knew real estate from before, but never been, once again, the journey. So the owner of Shorewood Realtors, his wife loved my wife. They loved it, invited us for dinner, parties. And they told me, they go, Luis, you'd be great, get into real, I heard that again, right? Here we go. I'm like, and I had vowed to never be back in real estate. I'm like, I am done.
Yeah.
But like the vibe was good, the neighborhood was good, the city, Manhattan Beach is great.
How can you beat Manhattan
I had
Beach,
an income
right?
now because we were, we generated that we had, I think we had like 6 stylists, and then we had a second salon in La Jolla. So money was, we
nice.
kind of survived, right? Like it was nice. And so I took the plunge. I said, okay, boom, renewed the license and went in cold. Went in super cold, had no idea what I was going to do, went up, first partnered up with a bigwig that was a bigwig realtor, and he put me to work on my phone, on my Rolodex, to call everybody that I knew. I don't know what he was having me do, but then I learned about spheres.
Yeah.
So he goes, Luis, just call everybody on your phone and tell them. And then eventually that first week, I got my first deal just from calling one of my friends.
That's awesome.
He's like, oh, I'm looking for a triplex right now. Lou, what are you doing? And drove to Compton, found them 2 triplexes, negotiated, cut the deal.
Nice.
Closed that deal, thinking me and my big mentor guy were going to be partners. He goes, yeah, we're partners. So then I closed that deal. Then the next month I closed 2 more deals out of my sphere, out of my phone, just literally calling people on my phone. And then he closed 2 deals. And I'm like, oh, great, let's see the money, right? He goes, no. We're partners on your deals, not on my deal. So I misunderstood that.
Yeah. And
I was done being a partner with him because I didn't think it was right. I figured we were going to share. Because I was working.
But you're the rookie to him.
Right. So rookie to him, but he didn't make it clear. He made it as if we were sharing deals as I was helping him with his deals and showing his clients his deals. But then he kind of explained to me, how it was for his benefit.
Yeah,
but I think it happens to everybody. We all live and learn. Yeah. So I live and learn, and I shifted, but I did learn from him. It cost me 3 deals. I learned what he was doing. He was, doing some Mike Ferry. So I logged into this Mike Ferry guy and then Tom Ferry, and I started I couldn't afford taking classes or having a coach, but I did every YouTube, every seminar. I did every script, and
everything
I
you
read
could possibly do
this.
for free, basically, right?
Basically, I did. He was in a mastermind. And I just mirrored it. I mirrored that mentor. It cost me 3 deals, but then I mirrored. So I sent emails to the Mike Ferry group. I go, what is this? I think, what was it called? It was like Redbox something. And then I started seeing these guys
Redbox
calling.
Is the
It's like a data, like red something. Like
Okay.
they provided the expired sales leads. And then I saw guys on YouTube, they were calling expires. How do I call expires? So I didn't even know what this was. So I went deep diving what expires were, and then I realized that there was a whole list that came out. The next day when everybody expired in LA County, you can get a phone list by paying it, and you can call these people. So I figured that matrix out, and I bought the list, and I bought the software. So then I realized that if you were calling at 9 o'clock, it was too late. 9 o'clock in the morning was done. So I started calling at 7 in the morning. I get this list at 5 in the morning. I filter out my radiuses, a 25-mile radius, and I'd call people. And they're like, hello? And I would, hey, your home just expired. Your realtor failed. Let's get your home sold. F-bomb, F-bomb, F-you, F-you. And I was only looking for people who like me. That's it. I said there's 7 billion people in the world. I'm just looking for those that I'm going to do business with, those that like me. So I would get, by 8 o'clock in the morning, I would get 2 appointments a day. And then I'd run to my office.
Man. That's hustling.
Run to my office.
Yeah.
I print up the RPA contracts. I'd shower. I wasn't even showered yet. I would sometimes do it on my road bike. I'd call on my road bike while working out. I would put one of these microphones. I would put it to muting the sound while I was doing a 20-mile bike ride.
Oh, I've seen it.
And it was
So you do that on the Bronco, right?
I did it on the Bronco. But in the mornings I was surfing, and then I would do the cold calling. Or sometimes if surf was bad, I would run. I would have this microphone, or I'd put it on my road bike, and then I would stop whenever somebody would talk to. So I get the appointments, I print up the contracts, and then I would drive to Garden Grove, West Covina, Semi Valley, and I drive 50 miles to I get there. By the time I get there, they've already talked to 200 people on the phone. They're like, who are you? What are you here for? Or they're like,
This is after you booked an appointment with these people?
After I booked, you booked,
And
because
they
that
still
phone
don't
number
even
was
know who you
available
are?
to every realtor out there. Every realtor, so I'd be the first one. Yeah, sure, come by. But then by the time that I hung up, they were 25 more phone. Like when I get to these people's house, they're going, I've already talked to 100 people. And everything that I said, the next realtor would say the complete opposite to try to get them on their bandwidth, right? And then so they would these clients were so spun 6 days to the wind. When I showed up, there was I don't trust you. You're evil, stranger danger, and
Right.
you just try to overcome, and you do your pitch, and you do whatever, and all right, I'll call you. But you know that for that whole month, everybody's calling that client, and you're just follow up. They would disconnect their phone numbers and not even it was so overwhelming. But out of that, I would get 2 listings, 3 listings a month.
Nice. Just from expireds are a big thing now that people do.
Right,
You're
but back then,
2-3 a month.
2-3 a month were listings a month,
That's a
and I was
ton of
getting these 2,
listings.
and I had no idea.
That's a lot.
I would call my sister Props, and I would go, what do I feel? Because there was no training, and I was in this pro company, Sherwood Realtors, that led Manhattan Beach, Hermosa Beach, Palos Verdes. They were the number 1 realtor for 60 years. And they thought I was a pro, and I was embarrassed. I was scared. I didn't want to ask, and they had no training. It was a pro league. So my sister helped me, online helped me, the Department of Real Estate, and how to do an RPA, what to do, what not to do.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I did all those classes, and I would drive, and then I'd have them sign, and then original signatures before DocuSign, right?
Yeah.
And and then DocuSign.
This wasn't that long ago. You should.
No, I know, but people were. So basically,
it was I know, it's a transition.
So what this was not getting my sphere, which is not how I work. This was just slinging deals.
These are random people.
I was just
These are clients,
hooking.
real
I was
clients.
hooking deals from people that in 5 minutes didn't know me, that then they were signing a contract within 20 minutes because they like me, or they like my energy, or they like what I wore, or they like what I said. And I had to have a little marketing thing. Like what I would do is I was driving there, I would search the MLS for all sold homes in the neighborhood, And then I would have a market data, and then I would see if any of them were sold by Sherwood. So then I could say, look, we, the Sherwood organization, we have sold 6 homes around your home.
Oh.
I am an area expert, right? So I kind of worked that when I had no listings.
Genius.
Eventually, right? So that first year at Sherwood, I became Rookie of the Year. And
That's
I had no
awesome.
idea. I was embarrassed. They're like, where are you
That's
getting these
awesome,
deals?
man.
They're like, West
Congratulations.
Covina.
Hell yeah.
They're like Chatsworth, Diamond Bar, Walnut.
They're so out of your area, yeah.
And
For
I was
those
like,
who
I was
not
embarrassed.
familiar,
You know, they just, these are old friends. I didn't even want to tell them what I was doing because I was
You're
embarrassed.
hustling, man. You don't need to be
But I was
embarrassed.
like, I was in this. These guys are making $3 million, $4 million deals. These guys are like whales, right? These guys are like these properties, and they were like, I was in the same office with them. Yeah, just listed this, $2.5 million. Like, oh my God, $2.5 million. That's like 2, 4, 6. That's like 8 of my deals because all my deals were 500,000, 400,000. I was getting that layer of
Suburban.
of low income suburban. The
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 beach
110
city,
corridor.
Yeah.
Whatever. Riverside, which is fine for me. It was fine. It was feeding my family. It was just no comparison to these whales. But it turned out I think I had that first year. I think I had 36 or 37 listings that first year.
Yeah, for those not in real estate, that's a ton. That's a lot of listings.
So that hustle, right, got me Rookie of the Year.
37 listings
Yeah.
in your first year in real estate?
Yeah.
Off expireds?
Off expireds.
You're just pounding.
I was just
going to work.
So then,
That's a
right?
lot of listings.
But then what happened was where these expires they're like orphan clients that none of these professional realtors follow through because they had no follow up from existing realtors.
But they're expired.
But
so
they're orphans because they're not, they're expires. There's nobody. They don't have basically 4 realtors in their sphere. Like most people that live in a $1 million neighborhood, everybody has 4 or 5 realtors that they golf, pickleball, drink with regular. And so it's a whole. Back then it was like their realtor who failed, and then I overcame the objection, and then it was me, right? And then everybody else would try to get the listing after me. And
do you remember your pit? Like just for those watching,
Sure.
To get 37 listings in a month?
Sure. Let's go. Ring, ring.
Ring, 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 ring.
Hi, is Andrew there?
Yes, I'm here.
Andrew, hey, it's Luis. Andrew, did you know that your realtor put your property no longer on market? Are you aware that it didn't sell and now it's no longer on market?
Oh yeah, no, he told me he couldn't sell it.
He told- okay.
We fired that guy.
Okay, that's fine because I'm glad he did because I want to go ahead and get it sold for you in this next 30 days. Can I go ahead and meet you in the next hour? I'll go over details with you.
I'm busy. I work a lot of hours. I'm here at the office all day. You're gonna have to.
Excellent. Do you have lunchtime? We'll meet at lunch.
Yeah, we can meet at lunch.
Okay, perfect. What's your address? Where'd you go? There you go. Boom.
Yeah.
So just get belly in front of them, and then you meet them. Just make them smile,
Yeah.
and then they trust you, right? And
Yeah.
you show them what you've done, and show them all your affirmations, all your reviews, and they're like, okay, I don't, I like.
Just
but
put in the
we
work.
basically work for clients, so we need to tailor to what they want. We basically have to. If they think their property's worth a lot of money, we gotta back them up. We can't beat them down at the beginning. Once you're in contract, then you can start talking reality.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? The market's doing this. The neighborhood's selling. What do you think? Your market, your price is here. So price drop. And I did learn it from mentoring from Mike Ferry and Tom Ferry that every Monday the phone calls are price drop. Every Monday, hey, the market did this. This one went on escrow. Look at yours. Look at your cost per square footage. Look at the condition. Look at what do you want to do with your home? You're here, they're here. Mm-hmm. I think we should actually go lower so that way we can get a lot of people, and that whole thing every week.
Yeah.
And they'll yell at you and they get mad at you, but at least you're on the contract, and then you could ease up and tailor. Eventually, I think our job as being a service provider for them is making them hit reality because they're not in reality, and I think that's my job. And my job is reality. With kid gloves, just walking them through so they're still respected. You're not taking away their biggest asset and telling them that it's shit. Just making them a reality. And the most important part is having them realize that they need to move on to the next chapter of their life. Who cares what happened last chapter? The best one's yet to come.
Right.
So, that vision in their brain and mentally having them move on, I think, helps make the sale.
Yeah, and for all those salespeople watching, Luis, you taught. Hopefully, you remember this, but you taught me like an acronym. This acronym was for following up with your
Absolutely.
sphere. You probably know what it is. Ford.
Yeah.
Can you explain to like my audience?
Yeah.
It's something that I learned. Yeah. What is Ford in terms of sales
I recommend the
follow-up?
book Ninja Selling. Absolutely greatest book ever from Colorado, the greatest real estate agency out there. They created this book. They've been the number one agency year in, year out. They got this book. They have training. It's everywhere. Go to it. It's amazing. Basically, it has to do completely the opposite of what I learned of expired calls and expired listings, because the problem with that expired business, and I'll just brief and then I'll jump into it, was once I sold that home, that client was gone to Bakersfield. That client was gone to Texas. That client was not buying. If they did buy, I got their business as well, but it was probably 10%. And then I couldn't market that property because it's 50 miles away. So I was making zero sphere of repeat business in Manhattan Beach.
Because real
Hermosa
estate's
Beach,
very
McDonald.
like you said, local,
Very,
very
very locally.
localized.
So I was never an area local neighbor. So I was not building my business. I was basically dying after every sale. So Ninja Selling changed me all that. It just changes how to farm, how to market, how to basically work in my kids' sporting events, my daughter's dance studio, at the school PTA, at the functions, at all the parties, the poker parties, the football, whatever I'm doing, I'm basically. Sorry, I get choked up.
It's okay. It's okay.
I
Tissue.
basically get to work doing the lifestyle that I love. Now, obviously, you got to have a little bit of money in reserves, but once that happens, I'm on all the time, right? So like my goal is to be in front of as many people, as many different events as possible. Pickleball, tennis, golf, cards, games, football, coaching, assistant coaching, whatever it may be, because when I'm there, I'm meeting people, right? Events, dancing, parties, whatever. I'm hosting parties all the time because I'm letting people know that I'm not a secret agent, that I'm actually a real estate agent. And if you know anything about me, you know I'm in real estate, you know that I sell, you know I'm a top 1% in the United States, you know that, this is what I do, because you're going to eventually like me or not like me. But if you do like me, that's who we're going to work together. And I'm only looking for the people who like me. Mm-hmm. So I let everybody know, those who like me then eventually get to let me know that something's going to happen. And that's where Ford comes in. Basically, it's Ford. So it just reminds me when a new conversation goes stale with somebody that I meet. Let's say I meet him at the sidelines of a soccer game or whatever, football game. And I'm sitting there and I meet, John. And it's, hey, John, how are you? Good to meet you. I'm Cayetano's father. And, oh, hi, And then now I'm like, oh, and he gives me no passageway because maybe he's a type A personality, type B personality. He's an introvert. So I go, so how's work? What do you do? What's your hustle? And hold on, let me get a drink here because this is good.
Yeah, so we do. What's the F?
So
just quickly before you
so
go.
I start
the
with
Ford.
Ford.
Yeah.
Ford means basically it's basically something to remind me how to keep the conversation going. Friends, is that coffee or what? Vodka? It's water. Okay, good. Yeah, I do need water. Man, you're making me work a lot here. I hope you're gonna sign the contract on me. I hope I'm making money here.
No, you're doing good, man. You keep going. These stories are gold.
So basically, these are things that remind me when I'm in a conversation with, let's say, an introvert, how to keep the conversation going. So, John, what's your hustle? What do you do? Ford means, no, I'm sorry. I start with family. So how's your family? Do you only have one kid or do you have other children, right? Because it's family, Ford. Or if they have no kids, it's friends. You have friends here, who do you do? Who do you know? How do you know these guys? Talk about the friends for a while. Get into that. Once that runs dry because he makes no conversation. Sorry. Then I go into, occupation. So what's your hustle? What do you do? What do you like to do? How did you do this by career? Is this what you wanted? Like, oh, really? You do widgets? Gee, widgets are amazing. Oh, yeah, I need a widget. And then I reference whatever my brain is having to do. And then we run that cycle dry. And he still hasn't given me nothing real, let's say, right? It's still kind of like a, because human beings are always being very protective of themselves. So they're, kind of
especially
sizing
for somebody
you
you
up.
don't know.
And I'm talking nothing real estate, right? So then I go to R, what do you do? What do you like to do for fun? Like I surf, I rode, whatever. I got everything. So, I rode bike. What kind of bike you got?
I do everything.
Like, yeah, you surf, I surf. So basically we get into that conversation. So somewhere in between there, then the next one, if that goes dry, then D, so Ford. So family, friends, occupation, recreation, and dreams. So what do you want to do? What's the purpose of the work? Why do you want to do this? Where are you going to end up in 5 years, right? So ironically, FORD, friends, family, occupation, recreation, and dreams, are also triggers. If I hear something while I'm trying to make a conversation and make a new friend, these are the main 4 triggers for somebody to sell their home and move. Family and friends, right? You want to be closer, further. College, not. Occupation, job loss, job transfer, right?
Job
Wife,
upgrade.
job. Upgrade, downgrade. Recreation, move closer to the beach, closer to the mountains, farther away, mountain, desert. Or dreams. I want to sell this average home and have a dream of living in a coffee bean shop.
Right.
That's basically my triggers.
Getting somebody to open up, really.
So while that doesn't happen, because I believe like every relationship, it's a year distance, right? And then some surprise you, but you get to actually break them down, and then eventually they become human beings, and then they ironically ask you, "What do you do?" And then they ask you, "What do we do?" And then, "Oh well,
great question."
So then. I make it a habit of always talking about some crazy story, because everybody always has a crazy real estate story. I go, "Oh, you got to check this out. This guy, right? Like he made an offer on a $4 million property, but then he sent me a report and he wants to offer $2 million. It turns out the report wasn't even my property. Just to get the conversation rolling. I'll depending on the situation, I'll talk something that's closer to home for him. Mm-hmm. And we identify that I'm a realtor. We identify what I do. I make people's dreams come true, find their dream home. And we move on. And then from there, you make a friend. Next time I see him, I follow up. Hey, how's Janice? How's your daughter? How's your wife? What's going on with your team? Football, recreation. And you just keep those things going. Somewhere on my phone, I make little notes. I have an ABCD, hot, warm, cold client thing, and I put them in there. So that kind of allows me to trigger more conversations with John, because John told me that he's going to have a job relocation in 90 days. Yeah. So I set up a reminder, and then I put it in my software, and my software reminds me who I need to contact today. So once I put it in there, I forget it, and then I look at my phone, and my phone, oh, today you got to call John, because John is now 60 days away from
his new job.
Yeah. And then because I know that means there's going to be a home for sale, and then that cycle goes. So that's what Ford is.
That's awesome. Yeah, yes. that actually helped me out. Kind of helps me keep conversations going too. And I got it from you. I'm sure you got it from somebody else.
I got it from Ninja Selling.
That book. And it kind of gets passed down.
Yeah, no, it's just knowledge is there. It's just a matter of who wants it. It's our resources. And it's if we want to reach out and grab resources and then actually apply them and be present in the moment, I think that's what makes it. I mean, if I had a better job, I would do it. But honestly, this is the best job that I have. And when I have a better job, I'm never going to do real. I mean, people will tell you, hey, I love real estate. That's all I want to do. I mean, honestly, for me, I actually force myself to love it, because failing on the phone for so many hours, having thousands of people tell me no, and then getting to their home and then slamming the door on you, I did not like the business. But because of destiny and because of need and financial and having a family, we adapt as humans, and we go, we will overcome this, and as long as you don't quit, you're still in the game.
Nice.
Yeah, no, I mean, I believe in 10,000 hours. You know that.
10,000 hours of what?
10,000 hours in anything you become an expert at.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. Oh, yeah. 10,000 hours of goofing off, you become an expert vagabundo.
Yeah, you're way past that 10,000 now, huh?
So honestly, it's now it just kind of real estate happens, thank God, right? But, you think back to all those years of calling and driving and expires and door knocking and listings and referrals and all the things I failed at, you kind of clean up your act, because you got 10,000 hours of experience. So now I meet somebody, it's like flush. Not always, but 90% of it is a done deal.
Right. Everything becomes easier with time, man. It's just
Correct.
Experience. And
Correct.
Speaking of experience, Luis's experience in the South Bay real estate community.
Correct.
And he's been there now for, you've been there for what, 10, 12, 15 years?
No, about 10 years. Just a little
10
over,
years?
Yeah.
Well, 10 years is actually a real estate cycle. So I wanted to just ask you, because you're in that area and I'm not too familiar with that area, what's happened in the last 10 years in the South Bay in terms of real estate? What have you seen? What do you see coming in
For all those who bought 10 years
Bay?
ago, their prices has gone up probably 4 times.
Yeah.
Condos that I saw back then that were $600,000 are now at $2.5 million. It's just bazonkers. There's a corridor between the South Bay and the business district of downtown LA, and then the movie industry, because you could take that La Cienega Stoker roads, right?
Okay.
So it's all about distance in the morning, and the South Bay became like a great way to live near the beach instead of living in metropolitan LA or Beverly Hills, where everybody's very uptight, in the opinion of South Bayers. All those people are very uptight and rude and mean, and everybody's rushing, where South Bay people are more relaxed. Something about the ocean. So that's what blew it up, That became kind of like a wide-known thing, and people live there, and they live in these little McMansions that have no grass or no dirt, and some do, some don't, but it's an amazing community.
Yeah. And what do you think everybody's talking to me about Torrance? I know Torrance is
just expanding the South Bay. It's just basically where people don't fit anymore in Hermosa, Redondo, Manhattan Beach. You just keep pushing out, and now you're in a new city, but that same energy. I've seen communities and neighborhoods that were kind of rough now that feel just as good as living on the Strand. They feel just as good. You're like, wow, this place, not as amazing, but like the vibe,
drove by there,
the energy of the neighborhood is like beautiful homes, rebuild, rehab, great families, playing football and baseball and having fun, safe.
I'm sure there's a lot of opportunity out there because prices have gone through the roof.
Correct.
A lot of gentrification in Torrance, I'm sure, as well, just because of those prices. I know, obviously you're in the real estate space. You've been in the car space.
Correct.
You've been probably a bunch of other things that I don't even know about that we didn't even talk about.
44 jobs.
But let's just say
44 jobs.
Let's just say today you can't do real estate.
Okay.
What's LG doing today? Is LG going back to hair?
Hair business is difficult because I don't cut hair, but it's it's a manageable business for us. The hair business basically, it keeps my wife happy. It does generate income, but it's basically her thing, and it makes our family work because she's connected instead of just being with four kids.
Do you have any goals, passions? What are your dreams?
So this year I am learning option trading. I'm investing in options, as you know. I have quite a bit of money with them, and it's going great. So now I have peak interest to take a course, learn, deep dive this, and if I can leave the real estate business, and now I'm a amazing hedge fund guy,
trader,
absolutely gone, bye-bye, right? No problem. But like, let's say if that's not an option, lending, lending's always an option. If it's not an option, probably, just kind of doing some other property developments. There's some projects that I'm currently working on. If that's not an option, my brother has a successful repiping business that he's always invited me to go and do. I believe that we are only as great as the habits that we set from the morning to who we decide that we want to be that day or that week. And I'm a guy that wakes up and likes to work, so I'm gonna work no matter what the new matrix is, right? Like it's a new video game, and what is it? What is it now? This ended, that ended. Okay, what is it now? Now we got to go like dig holes or sell pens. Yeah, let's figure it out, and I'm gonna go at it. But I like generating. I like generating success for me of being able to having that, it feels so good when a challenge that I fail at and then I actually figure out how it happens. When I started selling all those houses, it's so good to know that I can, right? Or when I couldn't do loans and I did loans, right? Or I couldn't sell cars, I sold cars. Now that I'm in the real estate market and I could never imagine myself ever doing $1 million house. Now that's all I do. I do $2 million, $3 million, $4 million houses.
In your area, that's like
it's amazing.
It's
just it's amazing what the human brain and what we're capable of doing. And just for me, I just know that as long as I have that healthy aptitude to keep expanding, that there'll always be a way for me to provide for my kids.
Well, I know you made it to we were just talking about how you made it to the top 1%.
Yeah,
Luis.
1% real estate. Thank you.
Hey.
Which I appreciate it. United States.
No, it's a big deal. Top 1% in
anything
in any industry is obviously to be applauded. But would you say that there was a point in your career that you felt like you kind of made it, or like you got past that point of like?
I still don't feel that I made it. I think it's funny
I mean, when you make it to the top 1%, it's hard to stay up there. But like, how did you get there, or like, was there a point where you got there that you were like, oh wow, I made it, or your first big real estate transaction, like your first big $2-3 million deal?
I'll tell you in this analysis, it's like working out. Okay, you never could just be in shape and then just stop. because you're immediately going to get out of shape. So you're either working out every day and you're actually maintaining, or if not, if you stop, it goes out. So, like whatever the plateau is, the amazing part, I think, as a human being, if any human being's honest with themselves like I am, I get to that income plateau, or I get to that money plateau, and I'm like, oh yeah, no, it's not really what I thought it was going to be. I thought I was going to get there and see baby Jesus and Hail Marys and have like this unlimited, rays of sunshine. But then I just realized it's just another day. And there's a lot more to do. So, I'm blessed for that, because whatever the new challenges will come on. But I don't think that there's actually a plateau. There's not a point in it that I just think it's just the next level, right? So, obviously I've hit levels already that I forgot about, but it's because I'm focusing on what's ahead of me instead of what's behind me. And I think that works for me.
No, I like that. It reminds me of a lot of people in sports. They don't like to look back when the career is almost over.
Yeah, like the last team, the last victory, last champion, you're back at zero. Like every month, this month is going to end. Chapter, I'm back at 0 deals next month, right?
Yeah.
So you got to keep that pipeline going. And I have goals to be the big kahuna in my company. I don't know how I'm going to get there yet. Like, these dudes are monsters, but it's part of my goal, right? I'm in top 10 with Sotheby, so that's a good goal, but I'm not number one.
You're top 10 in Sotheby's.
Yeah, in the top 10, I'm ranked 7. So
in Manhattan Beach
for the South, no, for our entire South Bay franchise, which is
again, guys. Let's give him a good. No, that's a big deal, man.
It's great.
Sotheby's is a big brand.
Big brand. Yeah.
How big is Sotheby's?
It's worldwide. It's international. They have auctions. They have auction cars, auction houses. They started selling
books. And then
books.
your area, the South Bay. What is that area like? How many agents are we talking about?
We're talking in my area, over 300 agents that are there. And the brand itself, comes from auction houses. They sold books, and from books they auctioneered them. Then they sold paintings, and then from the paintings they said, hey, well, if paintings are art, the walls that are hung on are also arts, which are homes. So they got into selling homes, I believe, probably like 50 years ago. And now they're a phenomenal high-end brand company, nationwide, international, every continent, everywhere in the world. So connections are amazing. Referrals are great. I work them like clients, all the other realtors. I welcome them. I show them everything I know, and I hope to make a connection, because I think really that's the only thing that matters. I'm not hiding any secret sauce.
So there's a common question that everybody asks you at a barbecue or at your family event. Luis, is it a good time to buy? Is it a good time to buy real estate? How's the South Bay looking?
Yeah.
But I want you to be real, because this is, the
very
Real Estate of Mind podcast. Is it a good time to buy in the South Bay? For real, no BS.
Obviously, I'm going to categorize it right into what exactly they're talking about, right? I'm going to do it for two reasons. Because I break it down to a specific instead of just being I am not CNN or Fox News to tell you what the overall world conglomerate is. That's not my job. I deal in actual reality. So I immediately break them down to reality. Like, what neighborhood you talking about? Right? Because one neighborhood could be completely different. So now we get specifically in their brain to figure out what they're really trying to say. Because they're really trying to ask me, is 123 Main Street a good buy? Right. Now I could help you.
Yeah.
People don't know how to say that. So I need to help them how to say that by asking them more specific questions to identify commercial, residential, being a renter, doing Airbnb, like what aspect? Are you thinking about refinance? What aspect of my business are you doing it? Because it's so just being like a doctor and identifying, what hurts or where you want to be better at, then I can help you.
I like that.
Yeah.
He's the doctor of real estate.
That's right.
He's identifying the illness.
That's
and
right.
Giving him
there's so many different parts of real estate
baby.
That you have to understand, and by doing tests, by asking questions.
Then you probably go back to Ford.
I go back to asking him questions. Does it hurt here? Like, does your income hurt? If they're doing rentals, where are you renting? What are you renting? Multifamily, what states? Where, and then just kind of break it down to identify what hurts for this specific, friend of mine that I could help. And I think that I do it from honest, and I think it's important to understand where I come from. It's 2 things that I learned in real estate. People have a lot of money, and people who buy very expensive homes see right through me. There's nothing that I could say that they haven't done or know already. So if I'm selling somebody a $2 million home, or somebody's buying a $2 million home, they have that capacity, and they've probably done this already 4 or 5 times. So if I'm not transparently honest and being completely, how do I say, not trying to help them, even if it's not going to end up being a deal for me, I'm always trying to help. Like, how do I help this human being? When I'm talking to somebody, like, I don't care if it's not my deal. Maybe he's talking about Michigan, not my deal. So what's going on? And then I'll get into, how do I help you with your question of what you want? How do I give you something from me to you that you appreciate? Because then you'll like me. And then when it comes to my area of expertise, you'll reference me as somebody that you can trust.
I got it. So
That's how I do it.
It's basically you believe in karma. That's what
I believe in karma. I put it out there, and then it comes back from some other way somewhere else
It'll
differently.
come
I
back.
help somebody here, expect nothing in return, and then, the good Lord, baby Jesus, brings it back over here.
Nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
karmic.
All right, Luis. That was it, man. That's all
You
I
don't
got
have
for
a
you.
third question?
No, that was it.
Come on! All right, should we do this again?
No, that was it, man. I appreciate it. Anyway, yeah, thanks for coming.
Thank
That
you.
was it. We don't have any more questions for LG.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Luis
That's it,
Gonzalez.
man. Episode 8 wrapping up.
Palos Verdes,
LG,
Manhattan Beach, Hermosa Beach, California.
the surfer from the South
Dollars
Bay.
Green everywhere.
You might see him. Where do you surf?
I surf PV Cove, Lunada Bay when it's big. That's basically what I have time for.
Yeah.
Sometimes
okay.
Huntington Beach, sometimes a
Wherever
jetty.
that is. I don't
Sometimes
even
foil surfing, Hawaii North Shore. Definitely when I get there once a year.
know. And you're into that new. What's the new surfing?
Foil surfing,
With
amazing.
what is it? The one.
It's like it's basically a 4-foot board.
with
It has
the-
a wing underneath.
Yeah,
and
that
then you
one.
pump and
Yeah.
glide, and very humbling as a surfer.
So you need to
too.
have a lot of wind.
No wind. This is early in the morning. This is a prone paddle to a little bit of a wave, and then popping up, and then using the energy of the wave to get up. In theory, that's how it should work, but there's a lot of crash and burns and learning. But
Yeah.
it's a good workout.
It is. You're gonna do this until
Come on out
retirement.
tomorrow.
This is never ending.
Oh, this
huh?
is amazing.
Oh
It's
yeah,
amazing.
I know.
It's the
This
best
guy is
ever.
nonstop.
Let's go.
Yeah, I feel you, man. Anyway, yeah, thanks again for coming.
Thank you.
And catch him on a wave near you. LG.